a regional digital coach for the near Northeast.
So, yes.
Yeah, so we've got the Northeast region up here.
Yep. So we're going to be talking today about this really great literacy tool called Read&Write. And normally this is a paid platform, but right now we all have access to it, and you should all have it on your machines as well if you're signed into your dpsk12.net address on your Chrome. And so I'm going to share my screen here and show you what this is all going to look like. Okay, so I think this is sharing. Drea, let me know when you can see it. Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm in a basic Google Doc right now, and I have opened up this toolbar. This is the Read&Write toolbar. And to get to it, you have this little purple puzzle piece with an RW on it. So if you don't see that, I would say put it in chat and we will contact you, but it should have been pushed out. As long as you're logged into that dpsk12.net, you should see this. And so when you click it, you will get this toolbar when you go into any kind of a Google Doc, anything Google, or any website. So what I'm going to do here just real quickly is go through a few of these tools. I won't cover all of them because that might get kind of long, but I'll go through the ones that I have found have been most useful when I do presentations, the ones that make people, more excited. So I'll start with those and then we'll take questions in a little bit. And I'll stop a few times throughout to take questions as well. Drea, please interrupt me if I'm going too fast.
Will do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I've scrolled down to the bottom of this Google Doc, and this is just an article that I found on the Lion account. It was in the database, and I just made a Google Doc out of it. So I'm going to the bottom of this document to show you this first tool. This is prediction. So this is the second one here. This is a tool that can help students who need to write. So I'm just going to go ahead and start typing something. I'll just start with the word I, and then it's just going to try to figure out what I want to say next. And I'll just say, I'm going to say am. And then it might, I wanted to say going next. So I could click here and it'll read it to me as well. Can you guys hear it read to me, or is this just in my ears?
It's just in your ears, Nikki.
Okay, it's reading it to me as I go back. So if I click here, I'm not even clicking, I'm just hovering and it says back in my headphones. So, so I could try to type something with this prediction and it will help me as I go. So that's one thing that's pretty neat. Before I go any further, I want to talk about one other thing because that will make a difference in how these tools act, and that is the settings. And to go over to the settings, it's going to be these three dots here on the right side. I'm going to click that and go into options, and I'll just show you all the different things that you can set to make it custom for you or for your students. So the first one is the voice that reads to me is right now US English Tom, but you could change this to many, many, many other voices. And so it will read to you in English, but it will sound like a native speaker from these locations. So it might sound a little bit more familiar to somebody who has another native language. You can change the speed at which it's read. This is where you change your translation when we get to that tool. So just know that you have some options here. In prediction, you can control the number of results that it comes up with. You can control the text size, just all kinds of things in here. When we get to screen masking, this will make more sense, but you can change the way that looks. Language here, just so you know, this is for the interface. So you could change the language of Read&Write to be a different language. That's not translation, that's the actual tool that you're using. So I'm going to click out of that for now. Just know that, again, those settings are up here in these three dots under options. Okay, so I've been over prediction. The next one that people like is the dictionary and the picture dictionary. So I'm going to, oops, let me get out of prediction. You have to click it again to get out of it. I'm going to click on something here that might have both a picture and a definition. So I'm going to highlight a word and click the dictionary. And this will give me a dictionary definition, anything that it could be, and I can click this and it will read it. You can't hear it, but I can hear it. The other one next to this is the picture dictionary. This will give you a picture of that word as well. And then you can also click the play button to hear that read to you. So those are right here, the dictionary and the picture dictionary. The next three tools are about reading the article to you. So you can click and it will read. Okay, you can pause it, you can stop it, and that's reading in the voice of English, US English Tom, I believe I had it set for. Let me look back and see. Again, you can change how this is read to you in the settings. Okay, I'll stop there. Any questions so far? Dre, anything coming up?
Over just where in the toolbar, like you're gonna find that extension?
It is up at the top. Right here. It's a puzzle piece, purple puzzle piece, has RW on it. When you click it, you should just get the toolbar. Okay, anything else I need to answer before I move on?
Nope, that was the question.
All right, cool. So back to my Google Doc. So we've covered these. I'm going to skip this one and this one and this one for now. This has been one that's, was that a question or is somebody's microphone? I think it's a microphone. Okay. Anyway, screen mask is one that students like a lot. So this works if you're on any kind of a Google Doc or on the website. It just makes reading on screen easier. If I click this, it gives me a little highlight of the words that I'm seeing. And again, I could change those in the settings. You can also change the settings for this right here. You can change the background color, like if you like it to be blue back there, maybe that's better. You can change the opacity of this line that you see. The reading light opacity, you can change all kinds of things here. So that's just a really nice little tool, again, that students like a lot. And if I could get out of it, it would be nice. There we go. Again, that's the screen reader. Talk and type is nice. It's really effective. You can click on a document and just start talking. I think it's already hearing me. Yes, so if the microphone is red, it's hearing what I'm saying. So I can just talk and type. This does work in other languages as well. So I'm clicking the microphone to turn that off. I can set it here to a different language. So if I wanted to speak in Spanish, I could do that and it will translate it. I mean, it won't translate it, it'll type it in that language as I speak. We've tested it and it works really well. All right, any questions coming up before I move on?
No new questions. Oh,
excellent. Maybe.
So yeah, Anne asked a good question. If you are not using Google Chrome, it is a Chrome-based extension. So if you're trying to use Safari or Firefox, it is not going to work. Good point. Yes, you must be in Chrome and you must be logged into your DPS Google account. So excellent. Thank you for bringing that up. The next thing here is translate. So the translator will do single word translations. So if I click here on lifeguard and I hit translator, it will translate it into whatever language I have selected. I believe I had Portuguese selected in my options. Again, that's up here in settings and let's see where it was under speech actually for some reason, but translation is here where you'll translate to the language you want it to translate to. One question we get a lot is if it will translate into Marshallese, and unfortunately that does not currently work, but we have requested it and hopefully they're working on that for us. So that's single word. If you did want to translate the full document, this doesn't do that, but you can do that here in Google Docs. You can translate the whole document here and choose a language. Okay, so the next tools I'm going to talk about are these highlighters, and this is pretty much a favorite across the board. This is, you can use it for so many different things. So what I want to do is just select a few words, and I'm going to select some nouns just, and you'll see why in a minute, but you would do this however would fit best in your class. I'll do lifeguard and I'll make that green. I'll do splash and make that blue. And let's see, I'll do shark next. Okay. And I'll make that pink. Okay, so however you do your instructions, they've highlighted these words in different colors. The first thing you can do with these highlights is collect them. So over here, we can collect our highlights. And what this will do, we can choose which colors we want to collect. I'm going to choose all of them for now, and I'll hit OK. And what this is going to do is take just a minute, but eventually it will give us a brand new Google Doc. This is our own Google Doc that we can type on and modify and do whatever, but it's collected those words and they're still color coded. There's also a link to the article where we found these words. So from here, we could make our own definitions. We could make notes about them, whatever we want to do. This is just our little list of words. So that's one use.
for highlights. The next one that I really like is actually the next tool over. So once you have everything highlighted, by the way, this would clear our highlights. I just ignored that. This is where we collected them just recently. And now we're going to go and hit this next button, which is vocabulary. So let's hit that. This takes just a little bit longer because it has a little bit more thinking to do. And so now it's made a brand new Google Doc. Again, it's my very own that I can modify. But this one will have my words in a table. And it will have every possible meaning of that word. Eventually, once this loads, my computer's really struggling right now. But eventually, I'll have little symbols for these words. Okay, there's our lifeguard. We should be getting a symbol for beach here. There's our shark. We've got that. It's just being really slow. If you can hear it, my fans are spinning really hard. Anyway, you have the word, the definitions, you have symbols, and then you have a place here that you can make notes. Since this is an editable doc, you can take out definitions that may not fit for whatever it is you're talking about. So great way to collect vocabulary words to make a list to help you study. Okay, any more questions before I move to the next? We good, Drea?
Will you go over the button for the vocabulary list again?
Yep.
The difference between the vocab list button and the other one.
Yes. Okay, so I've highlighted my words. The first button past the highlighters will clear them, so we don't want to do that. This one collects them and just puts them in a list. I believe it was this one. Yeah, just gives me a list. They're still color coded, but that's all it is. It's just a list. The next one over, so that's the one that made the list. The next one over just is these lines. And when you hover your mouse over it, it will tell you it's the vocabulary. So when you click that, it generates this really nice little list. And I still didn't get my symbol for the beach. I think it's just because, and I usually get a cute one for splash too. My computer's just overloaded and not doing it, but yours will probably be just fine. Okay, anything else? We're good? Okay, I'm gonna assume we're good. Okay, the only other one I wanted to talk about on the Google Doc is this last one. This one has been really helpful for students who need to practice their oral skills. And so what I'll do is just select a sentence here. I won't do a really long one. I'll just select, well, these are all kind of long sentences. I'll just select part of one. Okay, so I have that highlighted and I'm going to click this last tool. This is called Practice Reading Aloud. And so when I click that, it's going to open a new tab with that piece of the sentence that I highlighted. It also gives me the title of the document that I'm in. But as a student, what I can do is listen to this. So I could click this and it would read this to me. And then if I want to practice speaking it, I would have a microphone tool here. So I can start recording myself reading this sentence. So I would record it while it's read, it's hearing me. Sharks have long been tied to the, and okay, so it was actually recording me. Anyway, once I have it recorded, I can listen to it back. And if I'm happy with it, I have a way here to send this to my teacher. So I can hit send to teacher, and I already am set up as my own teacher here. But if your students in your class, they have a way to set you up as their teacher, and then from then on, they can just send it right to you. And then you have a way to hear how they're speaking, which is nice. Okay, questions about that? We good, Drea?
Yep, we're all good.
Okay, there was one other thing, or maybe two other things I wanted to tell you about, and that is when you are looking at a website. So this is a science article that I found on the web. I think it's, let's see, can I move this toolbar? I don't know if I can move, I need to move it. I don't think I can move my toolbar. I want to see what that is, but I can't. Anyway, it's a Tween Tribune article. It's just a website that kids can go to get articles. But you can see there's pictures here. There's kind of these other things on the side, these ads that I don't want. When you're on a website, there's an extra tool that you don't find on a Google Doc, and that is called Simplify Page. So when you click on Simplify Page, it will open up the information on that website without all of that extraneous stuff. So that might be helpful for some students that just need the information and nothing else. From here, there's other stuff you can do as well. I could simplify this further. I could hit this minus button and it'll get rid of all of the pictures and just have the words. I still have these other tools that we've talked about before, which make it easier to read the article. But another thing that you can do to help some of your students might be to change the appearance of this. And you could put it maybe blue on yellow, and man, that is bright. I don't know. I don't like that myself, but maybe some students would. You can also change the font. You can make it bigger for students, or they can actually change the font itself. I have a son who really likes this Open Dyslexic. He's not dyslexic, but he just thinks that this makes it much easier to read. So some of your students might find that as well. So anyway, those are things that you can do while you're on a website. And once again, that is the Simplify tool. Let me go back to the actual site. That is this one that's almost to the end, but not quite. The very last thing I wanted to show you, and this is probably not something you're going to need a lot, but if a student needs to read something that's not actually text, but more of an image of text, like the word store here, there is a tool here called the Screenshot Reader. So I've only had to tell a teacher about this once because they asked, this doesn't come up very much. But if I try to read this word, I can't. It's just kind of I mean, I could click it and go to this site, but if I wanted to read that word, I could go to Screenshot Reader and put a box around that word and read and write. You can see it's thinking. It makes that little colorful line thing. It's thinking, and eventually it will read that word to me. So again, it's not something you're going to need a lot. It just read store in my ear. If you ever are wondering why it's not reading, it might be put in as an image and you would just need this Screenshot Reader. Okay, so that is my spiel. We are open for questions.
Nikki, I have been telling people if they're having some issues with accessing that toolbar extension and it's not working, if they manually install it, then they need to put in a ticket for Dots so that they can.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as far as I know, Dots has pushed it out. So if it's not working, then there is possibly some kind of an issue. Just make sure you are logged into that dpsk12.net. And also maybe quit Chrome altogether. Like, don't just close it, but quit it and open it back up. Maybe that would help. Maybe restart your computer.
What we're going to tell you to do is to clear cache and cookies, and then to restart your browser. And if you don't know how to restart your browser, restarting your computer will work just as well.
Any other questions? Anything you want to see demonstrated again? Students do have it, this extension as long as they're logged into their Google account. It has been pushed out.
And then if they're having trouble using the extension, you can also share that Google Read and Write tool information that I linked in the chat. I'll go ahead and link it again with them, so it'll explain all of the tools for them. If they're having like technical difficulties, then students can also put in a Dots ticket, correct, Nikki?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah. And that document, just so you know, I wrote that for a 5th grader, so it's really simple language. So, you know, if it's not simple enough, make a copy of it and you can change the wording however you want, but I tried to make it really simple for students. Any other questions? I'm going to sneeze in just a minute, I think. So I'm going to mute my microphone. Oh, that was one way to get it to go away.
Yeah, you could definitely use the like text-to-speech feature for kiddos to have access to that text being read aloud to them. However, I think that there is also power in them hearing your voice as often as possible. So if that's something that you're comfortable doing with recording yourself reading certain texts, I would keep doing that. However, if you're stretched for time or that's not something that you are savvy about, they can definitely use that text-to-speech feature on the toolbar.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So I am working on, and I'm sorry I did start a little bit late, so I apologize, but
That's okay.
doing work with a lot of English language learners in high school. I'm the reading interventionist, and I'm really just trying to figure out creative ways to use this for them. And so I know you showed a few things, and like I said, I came a little late, so you might have shown some things before I started, but any like specific suggestions or tools that you think would be really good for our secondary English language learners?
Where did you come in? What was the last, or the tool that you saw me showing?
I think that she might have an internet connectivity issue. Okay, she's back.
Oh, hi there.
Up and all that. I'm sorry. So I think I joined right when you were doing like the highlight one.
Okay. So let me go back to this Google Doc. I'm still sharing my screen. Yes. Okay. So I talked about the highlights and collecting those and getting the vocabulary list. The other things that specific to older kids, I mean, this is the screen mask. I know that kids really love this it makes it easier to read a screen. And that can be for any website or any Google Doc that you're in. So that is one good one. And then the picture dictionary is always helpful. So if I go to, again, Shark, first of all, I have a dictionary here that will read this word to me. It's reading it, but you can't hear it, I don't think. And then next to that is the picture dictionary. So it'll give you an image of that as well and also read the word. So that's a good thing. Prediction is the first thing that I talked about, where if you're typing, it will predict what you want to say. So when I hit that and I'm telling a story, this, and then it will come up with, it should be coming up with words. I might need to refresh my page. It looks like it's not doing it for me. Hold on one sec. It normally comes down with a little drop down of suggested words that it thinks I might be trying to think about. Okay, so get back to read and write. Okay, Drea, you might need to show your screen. Mine's going a little haywire. Sorry.
And I can play with it too. I just, I appreciate you going back over a couple of them. Thank you.
No trouble at all. This was meant to be office hours, which was kind of drop in anyway. So we're happy to go over, tools as many times as you need.
Nikki, what are you trying to show her?
I was doing prediction, the first one. Oh, I'm in now. Maybe I can do it. Hold on. Let's try prediction. So yes, here it goes. It's working. So this, and then it gives me a list of things that I might be trying to say. Yeah, is the first one I was thinking. My favorite. So I don't know. And you can set how many suggestions it gives you there. So that's one that might be helpful for students who are trying to write in a new language.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Anybody else have questions or need to see a demo? Let's see. Yeah, some of these others that I didn't go over, like Audio Maker, you can read something and it creates an audio file. It just stores it in your drive and you can listen to it later. I haven't had a lot of teachers say that they really love that and want to use it, but it might be worth something to check out. A web search, that helps you just look something up really quickly. You You can always do that down here in Explore as well, but you know, it might be kind of nice to have just a tool in that same toolbar. It just helps you look up what that means and get some information about it. And I think I talked about all the others. Anybody else? Great, thank you, Tessa. I'm glad. Let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.